We're joined now by 2010 BlueClaws center fielder Jiwan James. He's down in Williston, Florida. Jiwan, how are you? Great to see you.
Doing good, man. Good to see you too. Been a while.
Yeah. So, what have you been up to during the quarantine here?
Absolutely nothing. Playing Madden on PlayStation 4.
There you go.
For like 2 or 3. So a lot of time on PlayStation right now.
You've been doing a lot of coaching, right? Obviously, before this whole thing started. So, tell us about that.
I've been coaching high school ball and travel baseball with the coaches at my high school that I played at and whatnot here in town. And as far as travel ball, we got me and my buddy Essex Sneed. We got 5 different teams from ages 9 to 13.
Wow.
So it was pretty good at.
How long have you been doing that?
Actually, since 2009, I think.
So you're still playing at the time?
Yeah, I coached every fall. So when I go home after the season, then I go right into the fall coaching travel ball, and then I leave in the spring, go back to spring training. So, but now it's pretty much year round almost.
When this is all over, is that something that you'd like to explore? Maybe even getting into coaching on the professional side?
Yeah, I actually started looking into that this past fall. I went out to the winter meetings with a couple of guys, and talked to a few people out there, and now just trying to get my foot back in the door.
Now, will you be more of the Mark Parent or the more Greg Legg? Sorry, say that again. You cut out.
That's maybe I'll mix both of them in.
There you go. All right, so let's talk about that 2010 team. That was obviously a really good team. Won the championship. You won both halves. What do you remember most? I guess, and it's hard to believe, right? This is 10 years since then.
No. What do I remember most? I'm gonna just have to say all of it. Like, I still talk to people, and all I can say is that's probably the most fun I've ever had playing baseball that season. I mean, from start to finish. Like you said, we won both halves, and then went on to win the championship. So I mean, it was just a fun year from beginning all the way to the end.
And did you guys realize in the spring? I know you don't know exactly your team, but you kind of have a general idea. Did you think in the spring when you broke camp that you had a chance to be a pretty good team?
We did. That last week of spring training, you kind of play with your team, and we realized like we had a good shot. I mean, especially with the arms that we had. So we knew right off the bat we had some big time arms, and then just add all the athleticism, and it just turned out to be a real good group. So we had confidence going into the season.
So remember the first week you guys played in Asheville, and you beat them pretty good. I think 3 out of the 4. So you certainly got off on the right foot there.
Yeah, that was pretty much that did it for us, really. I mean, we had big goals going into it, and then to start off the way we did, it was just icing on the cake early, pretty much.
Did when you started in Asheville, obviously that place is a small park, ball flies around there. Did you realize the difference when you got back to Lakewood? Because obviously hitting in Lakewood is pretty darn tough.
Oh yeah, I noticed it right away. I've actually hit my first home run there in Asheville, that first series. I don't know if it was the second game, but I remember being out front a little bit, so I come out the box flying, and then I'll get around first and look up, and the ball's way back in the trees. Like, what in the world? And you get home to Lakewood, and you feel like you're getting some balls good, and it's just little routine fly balls almost. It's a big difference.
Yeah, you hit the same ball in Lakewood, and it doesn't even come close to the ball. Let alone over the wall. You hit. It was the second game, April 9th. That was really good. Tell us about playing for Mark. I know he was tough on you guys, but he trusted you guys and worked you pretty hard, but it worked out.
Right. I always call a parent a player's coach. I mean, he let you go about your business, let you have fun. He liked to have fun, but as long as you do your work, he was all for it. I mean, we horse played a lot, but at the same time, when it was time to get down to it, he was ready to go. The players was ready to go. I mean, I don't think anybody that didn't like him really. Like I still talk to guys, and it was like, oh man, Parent was awesome. Parent was awesome. So I mean, he let us do our own thing as long as we got our work done.
I remember after the third, you won the first two. After the third game, I go in there after the game was over to see Legger, which I did every day. Had done it the whole year before, and did the first 2 days of this series. So the clubhouse was this little like wooden building off in the corner, and it had its own little, one door to get in. So I popped the door open, and the clubby's right there, and he's like, I wouldn't go in there. What are you talking about? He's like, your manager's really giving it to him. I'm like, it's the third game of the season. What happened? Do you remember that?
I do remember. I don't remember what happened, but I do remember getting chewed out pretty good.
I think they just beat you one night, regular game.
Yeah. It was freezing up there, man.
Oh yeah, you're up in the mountains there. So that team you had Darren Ruff was the first baseman for the first month, and then about a month in, he goes up to Clearwater. Jonathan Singleton comes in, and obviously he kind of anchored. Ruff was great for a month, and then Singleton came in and he kind of anchored the lineup for the rest of the year.
Absolutely, we thought we was gonna miss Ruff for a little bit, but Singleton came in and just kept right on rolling.
He hit a home run in his first at bat, I believe, right? In Greenville. Or was it Greenville?
Greenville.
Yeah.
Yep.
Do you miss those? So Asheville, Greenville. Do you miss those bus rides?
Actually, I do. You might not think about it while you're playing. You hate them while you're playing, but then after you finish playing and you look back on your career and just all the good times, and you actually do miss the bus rides. Well, I do anyway.
Yeah, I mean, probably. What'd you guys do? You hook some video games up and just try to entertain yourself.
Yep, just video games, cards, movies, just talking. Period. I mean,
you guys probably did about twice as many miles as some of the teams in the league, though.
Absolutely,
that's still the case. That's still the case now. Did we go to Rome that year? I don't remember. I don't think
we did. We missed out on Rome.
There you go. That's 800. That's another 100 and something miles from even Greenville. So first half rolls along. You guys are playing pretty well. You ended up needing to win the last day of the half against Kannapolis to clinch that first half title. Singleton hit 2 homers in that game. When I know that was obviously a goal for the whole half, but when it finally came true and you did win, what was that feeling like as you headed into the break?
Step one. I mean, we was into the playoffs, so it was a great feeling. We clinched both halves at home too. We had three different little get-togethers in the cage.
Yeah, and then 4, right? Because then the first round of the playoffs was clinched in Lakewood too.
Was it?
Yeah, beat Hickory in Game 3, and then. But that party was subdued because we left right away. They did a little thing for a quick time and then got on the bus and went out to Greenville.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah.
So Parent was the manager. Greg Legg was the hitting coach. Everybody loved Legger. He's still going strong in the Philly system. He was in Lehigh Valley last year. What was your relationship like with Legger?
Me and Leg had a good relationship, real good. I mean, we spent a lot of time in the cages together just talking, and I got a lot from him on the mental side of the game. Obviously we talked hitting a lot and just different situations, but we spent a lot of time together in the cage, and I feel like we had a real good relationship. Like I still talk to him now on Facebook every now and then, and just reach out, see how he's doing, and we still chat a little bit. So me and Leg are real good.
When did you switch over to being a full-time hitter?
Instructs 08.
You were drafted in 07.
Right.
Were you dabbling in both or just pitching before that?
No, I was just pitching, even though I sneak down to the cage and try to get a couple swings in, but for the most part I was just pitching.
So did you go to them? Did they go to you? How did that switch work?
I went to them. I sat out all of '08 with an arm injury,
Mm-hmm.
and we going into the fall or going back into Instructs '08 because I went to Instructs '07. I was hurt with my arm, and then came back '08, sat out the whole season. Then go to Instructs. I threw 2 innings, I think, in Instructs, and then my arm was hurting again. I was like, I'm done. I'm gonna just go to the front office and see if I can convert to the outfield. So I went and talked to, I think it was Dancy. I think it might have been Bill Dancy, and talked to him and told me he'll get back with me. And he got back with me the next day, I believe, and it was like, just come back to spring training ready to go. So.
And that worked out for you. You had played. Were you the center fielder in high school?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now the BlueClaws had some pretty good center fielders over that period. Tochi was after you. I think Kyrell Hudson was the year after you. Anthony Ghost was the year before you. But you guys could really go get him. Who was your center fielder to watch growing up?
I was a Griffey guy.
Griffey, yeah. You didn't have his power though.
No.
He didn't have your speed either.
Everybody I had a couple. Torrey Hunter was one that I watched because he was always flying all over the field, flashing leather. So Torrey Hunter, Griffey. Obviously, when I was young, be Andrew Jones, Braves. So
yeah,
a couple.
What year you were born? What?
89.
89. Yeah. So
yes,
Andrew Jones came up when you were 6 or so.
I said young.
Yeah. All right. So let's go through. You get into the postseason. You're going to play Hickory. Now, you guys hadn't. I don't know if you remember this, but you guys had not played Hickory until August that year. And there was a scenario going into the last day of the first half where you could have tied Hickory. You won, and had you lost, you would have been tied with Hickory after the first half. And there was no tiebreaker because you had played. So the first meeting of the second half would have been the de facto first half championship game, and that was in August. It was like August 20th or something, and Trevor May threw like 8 shutout innings or something in the winning the game.
Nice.
Do you remember that series against Hickory? It went 3. It went the distance, the best of 3.
Did Hewitt hit a home run that game or that series?
Yeah, I think so. May won game 1 down there. They won game 2 up here, and then game 3 was up here, and Pettibone pitched a great game.
Gotcha. The only thing I remember from actually I wasn't. That's not Hickory. What organization was that? Hickory.
They are the Rangers.
Okay, so the only thing I remember from Hickory was we were at Hickory, and Hewitt hit a home run to left field. That was just absolutely.
Yeah, they got those trees down there, and they're lower. The ball just flies, and it's an open area. Yeah, there's nothing to stop it. Yep.
Yeah, that's the only thing I remember from Hickory, though. I don't remember much.
So then you go to the championship series. That's in Greenville. You lost the first game, was a close game. Then there was the fight in game 2, and then Zide came in and just was unhittable for the last 4 innings. That was I guess you must remember that.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Valle spiked the ball. I don't think he realized the guy was right there, and one thing led to another, and like 8 guys got suspended.
Yeah, that was actually a fun night. I mean, like I've watched it a couple times since then, and guys send it to me still to this day. I just got it probably a couple months ago. Somebody sent it to me. But Valle spiked the ball. He's always been a fiery guy. But the one thing that I do remember is Castro threw the guy out at home.
Right, great throw.
I don't know how, but Castro was like one of the first guys at home plate.
Well, I wonder if because you had the monster, so I guess he was playing shallow and then just followed his throw. I don't know.
I have no idea. If you go back and look, it's like he threw the ball, and then the fight break out. And it's like Castro was one of the first guys to be there. I still don't understand how he got there so fast.
Yeah, that was that saved the game and maybe the series.
It did. That was a big play.
Yeah. Then the place was rocking, And then, because you had the overhang from the suite level. So, like, it went over to, like, the third or fourth row, unlike in Lakewood where the overhang is, like, 20 rows back. So there, because it's so close, the sound just echoes back and forth. And, there was a good amount of people there. But it sounded like a completely packed house just because of the way the sound. That place was rocking. And then Zide came in and was unhittable.
Yeah, Zai was absolutely untouchable. He was throwing harder than usual. So I guess that adrenaline had him, and
Yeah.
he was rolling pretty good.
So then game 3 got rained out, and then they got bumped back a day. So then game 3 was on a Friday night back in Lakewood. And then that was the game, I think Barnes, right? Jeremy Barnes had the walk-off hit it might have been the 10th, 9th or 10th, but he had the walk-off hit. So you go into Saturday where they're going to play 2.
Mm-hmm.
And when you felt you won, well, if you might have to play 2. So when you felt you won Friday, did you feel like you had the thing in control going into Saturday?
Absolutely. We already had made our mind that we weren't playing 2 that day. We was going to get it done first game.
And then Vaya hit the home run.
Mm-hmm.
Were you on base?
I don't remember.
I don't remember that either. So Vaya hit the home run, and then Zide came back in.
Yep.
And that was it. Nobody was touching him.
No, he was lights out in the playoffs.
I mean, you guys had that pitching staff was nasty, right? You got May back, Pettibone was great, Colvin was great, Cozart, unfortunately he got hurt, but Zide started a little bit, went to the pen, and then in the playoffs, a guy like that out of the bullpen is awesome.
Absolutely, yeah. The pitching staff that probably was our strength. Like, I still talk about that staff to this day. I tell people, I'm like, man, 4 out of our 5 starters were all 95. All of them touched 95 pretty much. And I'm like, and the guy who wasn't throwing that hard was Julio Rodriguez.
Yeah.
Striking everybody out. So, yeah. I tell him, like, man, he had like 87 strikeouts in probably 50 innings. And I remember one day we were going out for batting practice, start our day off, and Julio was throwing a bullpen. So and everybody's like trying to figure out how's he striking everybody out. And
right.
I stopped on the plate, just to see what was going on. And he threw a natural cutter. It's like I'm standing there looking, and the ball come in, it's just cutting, just running. If it's the right hand, it's just running away from him. And I'm like, well, I guess it makes sense now. So I finally got to see what was going on with him. And the guys from Hagerstown,
right,
play every day. But we kind of got to be friends with the guys. So we talking to them, it was like, man, we'd rather face Cozart than to face Julio. But nobody wanted to face Julio.
And, yeah, Cozart would hit 100 here every now and then too. Yeah.
Right. That's what. Yeah. Give us the 95, 97, 98. We don't want no parts of Julio.
Yeah, Julio was 90 strikeouts in 56 innings. That's insane.
Yeah.
That is great. In the ballpark, there's a nice photo mural of the five of the pitchers: Colvin, Pettibone, I think Kobe Shreve, Cozart's definitely in there, and May, the 5 starters at the end of the year. I don't know why Julio didn't make that grouping, but like a nice photo mural of all them on an elongated pitcher's mound from that year. That was a pretty amazing pitching staff. I mean, their ERA for the whole year was 3.04. So, they almost topped. They almost got sub 3. So, anything else stand out? What else do you remember from that year?
Probably being in center field. Rat Trap, of course. I'm out there in center field, so I'm listening to music every home game.
Night. That's funny.
Yeah, Rat Trap was a good memory. Man.
Did we make you guys wear any totally ridiculous jerseys that year?
The Goonies. I think
Goonies.
It was. Yeah. I didn't even know what the Goonies was. I had to look it up, but I do remember that.
So that was the day that VR got traded to Houston in the Roy Oswalt trade in 2010. And so he gets traded that day, and then Keone Duren took a spot in the lineup at 5:00, and he got the game-winning hit.
I remember that. I do remember Keone coming in. He was good to have him, being the older guy, veteran. So he was pretty good to have around for all of us young guys. Somebody to talk to a little bit.
Yeah, because you guys really did have you had a really young group that year. That was one of the younger teams in the league. Do you remember the day Brian Howard came back?
I do. That was a lot of fun that day. And one thing, so Howard swung a 35, 34-inch bat. So, of course, all of us in the cage watching him go about his business. He's swinging that bat with one hand, and it was almost like us swinging with two. Yeah, that was a fun night. I mean, he was real down to earth. He was real down to earth with us. He didn't try to, shy away from anybody. He was open. I mean, anybody can go up and talk to him. He was receptive or whatnot, and he was a real down to earth guy.
And then he, at that point, he obviously was a World Series champion, MVP, multiple-time All-Star. Yeah, that night was we retired his number before that game, and then he played. I don't know so we were going to retire his number earlier in the year, and they had a game rained out in Colorado, and they had to make it up the day that we were going to retire his number in September. So we canceled the thing and then rescheduled it once he was going to rehab. But the day that Singleton got there, they gave him number 29, which was supposed to be retired. And it wasn't supposed to go – for some reason, the number went in the bag that they gave to Mickey, the trainer. And Mickey texted me, he's like, Singleton's number 29. And I didn't even realize it. And I texted somebody back in the office because they need to put it in the program. And he can't wear 29. What are you talking about? He's like, that's Howard's – I'm like, oh. So we scrambled, and then he had – I think he wore – I don't
14.
even – 14, yeah. So, yeah, that's how we almost gave him the retired number. That would have been cool. So, Jiwan, I appreciate a few minutes. Hopefully, this quarantine will end here pretty soon. You can get back to coaching, and we'll get some games going on and everything. But keep it up and stay in touch, and hopefully, we'll talk to you soon.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Jiwan.